This week on Talkin' Ted, sex. All this and more, all on today's.
Yeah, we're watching season 2. Yeah, and we'll make you smile too. Heaven knows we'll try.
Thank you so very much, Matthew Winkler, for that crackerjack reimagining of the theme. Welcome one and all to Talkin' Ted. I am Mike, I am your host, and as what was referenced in the pre-opening credits, let's talk about sex. Fortunately, I have a special guest on who is far more qualified to talk about this than myself. If it was just me, the whole thing would quickly devolve into a series of bad Austin Powers impressions. My wife! So let's get into it. Let's meet our special guest. Please give a warm welcome wherever you are to my special guest, Sabrina Baldini. Tell the people of the internet a little bit about yourself.
Right now, I'm doing a graduate program in sexual health, and I've been involved in sexual health basically my entire life, starting from U of T, working at or volunteering at the Sexual Education Center, to working at crisis centers, to volunteering with this healthy sexuality program. Not even that long ago, quit a job that was one of my first jobs out of university in marketing that I was happy to get. I quit just a couple of months in to go to Kenya abroad and teach sex ed for 3 months to teens and even adults all across the entire country. And it was the best thing I ever did.
First concert, best concert.
Oh my God. First concert was Silverchair. I was in grade 7. That was huge because there was 3 girlfriends. It was me, my friend Anna, my friend Christina, and we all lied to our parents saying that we were sleeping at each other's houses. So all the parents were completely misinformed. Best concert is really tough because there's so many ties. But if I said Coldplay,
Maybe we went to the same Coldplay show. They had their intermission, and then a tiny stage was set up right in the middle of the crowd and just big enough for the 4 members of the band.
in the ACC, and it was so close to me too.
Okay. Oh my gosh. We were
my
probably
God.
in
We
the
were
same
there.
section.
Probably.
Let's get into the recap.
I'm loving all the female relationships in this. They're written well. They're not one note. They're all very good. And I like that it's a godmother. It's not her biological child. It's and she cares so deeply about her.
Yeah, and we also get some really nice story arcs for Rebecca and needing to up her own standards. And of course, my favorite story arc, which is Jamie's redemption.
And I was really rooting for him, but I didn't not root for him.
There are plots that move fast because the whole arc of Jamie Tart being this redemptive figure and now we love him.
Yeah.
On episode 3 of 12?
Yeah.
On a worse show, that would happen on episode 9 at the earliest.
Yeah. God, I really like Keely.
She's as much of a boss-ass B-word as Rebecca.
You can't say bitch. I can say bitch, right? I'll say it.
Oh my gosh, no, that's all yours, for sure.
But I do think Keely is a really badass bitch. Can I say something else too about Keely, which I thought was a big moment? As far as I thought she was gonna go one way and then didn't. I thought she was some groupie, and I thought that they were really dismissive of her, and I thought that whatever, she was catty, and her and Jimmy break up. She goes to his house, and there's a girl there,
Mm-hmm.
and he's in his underwear. It's the morning, clearly they've been together, and the girl that he's with is so interested in her, not sexually, but Keely's famous. I know it seems insignificant, but from a woman's perspective, Keely turns to that woman that's clearly slept with her boyfriend and is it was really nice to meet you. It sounded really genuine. It actually did. And the girl was yeah, me too. No fighting. It was oh. And then you see Keely and Becca so supportive of each other. I know that men, you can totally be woke and appreciate these things, but I can't stress enough. I didn't really see shit like that growing up, where women weren't like battling for male attention constantly. But anyways, that was a really big, like, in my opinion, like feminist moment.
The incredible Sam Obisanya plot.
I know.
It also reminded me of banter itself.
Okay, I'm listening.
Because with banter, it's removing the face.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in this episode, Sam Obisanya was the face of Dubai Air. You look at any club soccer team, and the corporation is the face of the team. To mask the name of the team, that is basically hiding what was always the face of the team. It's now the individual players who are the faces. The real heart and soul of the team are the people, not just the superficial corporate face.
Holy shit, eh? Wow. Like
2.5 GPA, U of T English. Hell yeah.
Now, how long are they going to do this for, though, I wonder? And how deep can it run, you know?
Okay, so to that point, let's get into
predictions.
What do you think the consequences are? What do you think the fallout is going to be?
I think that Rebecca's going to get in big trouble. Like, big trouble. Like, even fireable. And then maybe they bring somebody in the interim or something like that, and there's all kinds of tension, and she has to fight her way back in. It's literally on their jerseys. You're right. Like, you can't just walk away from that.
One thing that I think could be wild is that there's a chance that Dubai Air breaks completely from the team. They break ties, and so they are left without a sponsor. We absolutely have not seen the last of Rupert.
Yeah, I was gonna say, damn it, you took the words right out of my mouth. Okay, yeah. Okay, go on.
We absolutely haven't seen the last of him, and he's obviously so loaded.
Yeah, and loves the team.
Yeah.
Genuinely loves them.
So imagine this. Imagine he forms his own corporation called Rupert.
Yeah.
And then he buys the team. And so then from the rest of the season, we see Rupert on every jersey.
Look at you again. Look at you.
I'm just saying, maybe imagine that and how that would kill Rebecca. One prediction that I had in my first episode that I think is coming true is the player Colin is going to come out as gay. He was the one in this episode who brought up Grindr.
Oh, yes. I think you might be right then.
And this is such an important development in sports that, of course, has been long stigmatized. So last week's episode, Dr. Sharon said that her favorite book was Prince of Tides.
I downloaded the Prince of Tides after she said that, and I watched it. Anyways, go on.
This is a story about a relationship between a therapist and their patient.
Yes, look at you. Yeah, it's very much. It's Lowenstein and Tom. Yeah.
There's obviously every single no-go and obstacle between a therapist and their patient having a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
But on banter, because here is a dating app that you can't see the other person's face. And so it's just Ted and Sharon. And so I have a feeling that will happen, that the two of them are going to have a you got mail situation and not even know that they have matched with each other.
I don't even know what to say. Like, what are you going to do if you're right? Are you going to tell somebody? Like,
I'm going to go downtown Toronto in my AFC Richmond jersey with a megaphone talking about all of the things that I got right. One thing about this particular episode that made me like really smile was that opening scene with, I just always call her Sassy Smurf.
Sassy, yeah, Sassy Smurf, yeah. But it really did make me smile. Like, it's not awkward. Like, I really appreciated that. There was no like weird like strain. I don't think that you see that often. He didn't treat her like some kind of conquest. Like, in my opinion, this whole show is very sex positive in that way. Like, it's handled very maturely. I'm gonna like talk sex therapy a little bit about the stuff I'm learning in my program.
Please.
So like So like couples, like, you know, we're like trained to I'm learning how to counsel couples that have like sex drives issues or communication. It's usually just communication issues. What we're learning firsthand is that these couples come to you and they're like, we're out of sync. Like the problem is that there's so many scripts that we need to follow. There's no set way that people need to behave. If that makes sense. So that like when I see Ted Lasso and like they're athletes, you would think that they're these hyper masculine, blah, 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 but there are so many really sweet moments. For example, in the first season, like sleeps with Sassy and then pulls aside, oh my God, his friend, the coach. His friend is like, okay, do you want to talk about it? He's like, yes. And then they have a group session again. Like, it's like amazing. It's just amazing that I'm like, look at these guys. Like, I don't often see that on television. Most adults do not know how to have a mature discussion about sex. Most adults don't confide in like their they don't communicate with their partners, but they also don't confide in their friends about sex. They keep it really bottled up and then it gets weird. They get defensive. You know what I mean? Seeing men like be so nurturing with each other, like talking really openly about sex is like a really big deal. It's a really big deal. And that it's not like fluffy. It's not like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like schmaltzy. It's real solid advice.
I would say the most famous quote is from that dart game in season 1, where Ted's talking about the Walt Whitman quote, "Be curious, not judgmental."
Yep. Mature people are curious. Mature people are flexible. Mature people are open-minded. You know, mature people are vulnerable. And then they bring you in, you know, and then you're vulnerable back because you feel like comfortable with them.
So Sabrina, speaking of using our brains, you and I are going to use our brains for this next segment. This is Wordplay, Swordplay. Wordplay, Swordplay.
Oh no.
This riddle was provided by Dave, who was our guest on the last episode.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes. Oh God.
What do you call a foul smell emanating from one of the James Bond film franchise's most beloved returning actors? Assuming, of course, she was seated in a park in Paris.
Oh, stench on a dench? Stench dench? Something with Jude.
Ooh, yeah. Okay. Stench. A stench from Dench on a bench.
What?
A stench from Dame Judi Dench on a French bench. Good
No.
enough. We got
I
it.
missed the Paris part. Yeah, we got it. That's fine. I'm very proud of myself.
Now for our final segment of every episode.
What are you grateful for?
What am I grateful for? My curiosity. I'm not afraid of my curiosity anymore, if that makes sense. That I kind of like embraced my curiosity and jumped into this whole program, and like it feels so natural. And the more curious I've become about things, the more I find that I'm connecting with so many people. Does that make sense? Curiosity / friends / family.
That's a beautiful triad to be grateful for. If I had like you teaching me about like sexuality, like in my formative years, like
Yeah.
I can't imagine how many weird hurdles in my 20s I would have overcome. Because a huge part of that about growing up was overcoming shame and being afraid to ask questions about sex. And the way that you do it, it makes me excited to ask about sex.
Oh.
Thank you for helping to end the stigma about asking and being curious about sex. And also, appropriately enough, given the content of your shirt, thank you for being a friend.
Oh. Cheers. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
To you.
Thank you for tuning in to Talking Ted. If you have any ideas for future episodes, sound off in the comments. Or, if you know me personally, text me your ideas. I appreciate you.